Right, let's jump in. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a name that really resonates across history, Nalanda.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just ancient stones and dust,
Sure.
It's an ideal. We're exploring the story of what was arguably the world's very first great residential university
Yeah, it's fascinating.
and asking this incredible question. Can that ancient glory, that spirit of deep learning, truly be brought back to life today?
It's quite a journey, isn't it? You go from this peak of intellectual brilliance in the ancient world
Right.
through this really tragic destruction, and then right up to the present day, where there's this very determined, very complex effort underway to rekindle that flame.
Exactly.
So we're looking at the history, the legacy you can still sort of feel in the ruins today,
Yeah.
and this ambitious, sometimes messy attempt to build something new.
We've been digging into this story, piecing together its rise, its dramatic fall, seeing what the ruins actually look like here in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
and examining the hopes and, well, the challenges of this modern revival. It's packed with surprising details.
And some really thought-provoking insights, I think, about what knowledge is and how we pursue it then versus now.
Think of it as getting a shortcut, maybe, to understanding a place and an idea that still echoes powerfully into our modern, information-saturated world.
Definitely. So where do we begin this story? The founding.
You have to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Picture this. 5th century CE, what is now Bihar, India.
Okay.
The Gupta emperors were in power, and they did something genuinely groundbreaking. They started laying the groundwork for what became Nalanda.
Not just a few teachers, but
No, a purpose-built residential university on a scale the world just hadn't seen before.
it was an absolutely revolutionary concept for its time.
Totally.
And it just exploded, didn't it? It very quickly became the premier intellectual center,
Yeah.
drawing students and scholars not just from across India, but from places we now call China, Korea, all over Southeast Asia.
It wasn't just regional, it was truly global in its reach and reputation back then.
And the sheer scope of what they studied, that's always amazed me.
Right. It wasn't just philosophy or religion, which you might expect.
No, we're talking astronomy, medicine, mathematics, logic, linguistics, the whole spectrum.
Imagine the intellectual energy just buzzing around that place.
Oh, definitely. And we found this little detail that just makes it so real buried in the texts are mentions of debates happening in the monastery mess hall.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't all, high-minded ivory tower stuff. Daily life and rigorous intellectual exchange were completely intertwined.
That's fantastic. And the archaeology backs up the scale, right?
It does. When you look at the ruins today, you can see the clear outlines of dormitories, huge ones, designed to house thousands of students.
Thousands.
Yeah, and dedicated lecture halls, meditation spaces for contemplation, and critically, these vast libraries.
Oh, the libraries.
Yeah.
Specifically Dharma Ganja. This wasn't just a library.
No, it was a complex. 3 buildings, wasn't it?
3 massive buildings. In the ancient world, this was your Google, your Wikipedia, your entire internet archive rolled into one massive physical space.
Yeah, if you wanted knowledge, you had to go there. You had to walk those aisles, find those manuscripts.
No search function other than your own feet and maybe a helpful librarian.
Exactly. And we have these incredible accounts from people who were actually there. Xuanzang, the famous Chinese Buddhist monk.
Right, 7th century.
He visited, and his writings paint this picture of a place just alive with scholarly debate. He describes discussions that would go on for days.
Days, not hours, days.
Days, where students and masters alike would fiercely challenge each other's ideas. It sounds like a place where intellectual rigor wasn't just encouraged. It was the air you breathe.
Not for the faint of heart, then, or the easily offended.
Probably not. And that intellectual intensity didn't stay just within Nalanda's walls either. Think about the ripple effect.
Yeah, the scholars who studied there, they took those ideas everywhere.
Exactly. Someone like Atisha de Pankara, former abbot there, he journeyed all the way to Tibet.
Right, and that transmission had a profound, lasting impact. It fundamentally shaped Buddhist monastic traditions in the Himalayas.
It's quite remarkable when you step back and look at it. These ideas cultivated in the, sweaty plains of Bihar, making their way thousands of miles to flourish among the icy peaks of Tibet. It tells you something about the power of knowledge itself.
How it travels when people are dedicated to carrying it.
Precisely.
But, of course, this incredible period couldn't last forever. History rarely allows such bright lights to shine uninterrupted.
Unfortunately, that's true. By the 12th century, Nalanda was already facing some challenges, and then Then came the devastating blow.
The historical accounts detail the impact of the invasions sweeping across northern India.
The Turkic invasions.
Under figures like Bakhtiar Khilji, these academic and religious centers became targets, and Nalanda suffered a horrific fate. It was deliberately attacked and burned.
And this is where one of the most tragic legends, or maybe accounts, of this story emerges: the library, Dharmaganja,
The 3 buildings.
burning for 3 months straight. Now, whether it was exactly 3 months might be debated by historians, but the detail itself speaks volumes about the sheer scale of manuscripts lost.
3 months of irreplaceable knowledge turning to ash. It's almost impossible to fully grasp the magnitude of that loss.
For human history, for intellectual progress.
Yeah.
Staggering.
3 months. Just gone, imagine.
We even have an eyewitness account from a bit later. The Tibetan monk Dharmasvaman visited in 1235.
Okay, so after the destruction.
Yes. And he found a place that was essentially deserted. The books were gone. Most of the scholars had fled or been killed. His description is incredibly poignant.
How so?
He basically described it like arriving at a magnificent party, only to find the music stopped long ago, the guests are all gone, and only the empty halls remain. Just ruins and silence.
Wow, that paints a picture. So where does this fit into the bigger picture for India at the time?
Well, many historians, like R.C. Majumdar, point to the period around 1200 CE as a real turning point. They suggest that after this, Buddhism as a major societal force in India itself largely diminished. Nalanda's destruction wasn't just the end of a university.
It was symbolic.
Exactly, symbolic of the decline of this specific lineage of Buddhist learning in its homeland, even though, as we noted, it found fertile ground and continued vigorously elsewhere, like in Tibet.
Right. It didn't vanish, but its heartland presence faded dramatically.
Precisely.
Now let's fast forward through the centuries, right up to today. It's 2025, and you can actually go there. You can walk the grounds where all this happened.
And it's a remarkable experience, based on what we've learned. Visiting the ruins in modern-day Rajgir, Bihar, they're described as hauntingly beautiful.
Like opening a really ancient book, but finding half the pages just missing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You can still see the footprint of that immense place, though.
You can trace the outlines of those dorms that housed thousands. The foundations of the lecture halls, the bases of stupas where monks would meditate. You can almost feel the weight of all those centuries, can't you?
The story's just whispering from the stones.
Yeah.
And there's that short hike you can take nearby up to Gridvakuta or Vulture Peak.
Ah, yes, identified as one of the Buddha's favorite spots for teaching.
Right. And the feeling up there is described as one of strange calm, a palpable sense of accumulated serenity.
And that really hits you, doesn't it? Up there, there's no Wi-Fi signal.
Nope.
No constant buzz of notifications, no X-posts or endless scrolling.
Blissful silence, maybe?
Maybe. Yet this place, stripped of its original purpose and lacking any modern lore, still draws thousands of people. Pilgrims, tourists, the curious, they all come.
It raises the powerful question, doesn't it? How does a place like this, relying purely on its historical weight and atmosphere, maintain such a pull?
It's like a spiritual Wi-Fi signal that, unlike ours, never drops.
I like that. A Wi-Fi signal that never drops.
And it forces you to confront something, doesn't it? If the Buddha could fundamentally change the world, share profound wisdom, build a lasting legacy without a single tweet or viral post, what exactly is our modern excuse?
Are we simply too overwhelmed, maybe? Too distracted by the sheer volume of information to actually notice or absorb genuine wisdom that might be right in front of us?
It's a sobering thought.
Which leads us directly, I think, to the modern ambition. The attempt to build a new Nalanda 2.0.
Right. This isn't just hypothetical talk. In 2010, the Indian government, with significant backing from East Asian nations who really value that historical connection,
Japan, China, Singapore.
they launched a modern Nalanda University situated not far from the ancient ruins.
And the stated goal is incredibly bold. Recapture that ancient spirit, create a modern global hub for learning.
Focusing on areas like Buddhist studies, obviously, but also ecology, international relations, history.
Blending ancient wisdom with contemporary academic disciplines, it's a huge undertaking.
But, as we've learned, trying to recreate a 1,500-year-old dream in the 21st century comes with some serious hiccups.
Yeah, hiccups is a polite way to put it sometimes. It's been a challenging road. There have been debates over funding, navigating bureaucratic complexity, lots of it, and disagreements about the university's exact academic direction and identity. What should it be?
It highlights a fundamental tension, doesn't it? Is it meant to be a truly cutting-edge research institution competing globally?
Or is it, as some critics suggest, maybe more of a symbolic project? Perhaps intended more as a diplomatic showcase than a genuine intellectual powerhouse.
Ouch. But a criticism you hear.
You do. And then you hear the counterpoint. Hold on. The original Nalanda took centuries to reach its peak.
Good point.
You can't expect a modern institution born into a completely different world to replicate that overnight. It needs time. Time to find its feet, define its mission, build its reputation.
So patience is needed.
Perhaps. But this brings us back to that core question, isn't it? Can a modern university, with all its necessary infrastructure, tech, admin layers, can it truly embody the same kind of raw, unfettered pursuit of truth that characterized the ancient Nalanda?
Or is it destined to be, as one perspective put it, just a beautiful campus with a resonant but maybe only nostalgic name?
It's the million-dollar question, really.
So, beyond the historical facts, which are fascinating, and the modern project, which is complex, why does the story of Nalanda still feel so important today? What's the takeaway for us, you think?
Because ultimately, Nalanda represents more than just a physical place. It's not just bricks and mortar.
Right, it's that of you.
It represents the power of knowledge pursued deeply, the value of global intellectual exchange, the possibility of people from diverse cultures coming together solely for the sake of learning and debate. That's powerful.
And in our current age, where we are absolutely drowning in information, available instantly, constantly refreshed, but often feel like we're starving for wisdom, Nalanda's legacy feels incredibly relevant.
It does. It reminds us that deep learning requires effort, focus, and a willingness to step away from the endless scroll.
Think about that contrast. Those ancient scholars didn't have algorithms curating information for them.
No TikTok summaries of complex philosophy.
Exactly. They didn't have instant answers at their fingertips. They had to grapple with texts, debate ideas face to face, wrestle with complex concepts the hard way.
And maybe, just maybe, that's the secret sauce we need to rediscover today.
Less passive scrolling, more active struggling.
Something like that. Engaging deeply with ideas, grappling with uncertainty, allowing time for contemplation. Nalanda was built on that kind of rigorous, dedicated effort.
And this points to one of the biggest challenges for any revival effort, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's not just about erecting buildings or hiring faculty, as important as those are.
It's about trying to cultivate that mindset in a completely different era.
Right. The modern Nalanda faces hurdles the ancient one couldn't have dreamed of. It has to compete globally for students and faculty.
Navigate complex geopolitical currents. We read how border disputes, for example, can complicate international cooperation on the project.
Tensions between India and China, for instance, can cast a shadow.
And somehow transmit timeless wisdom in a world that seems optimized for viral clips and sound bites. It's a tall order.
It really is. There's also this interesting dilemma about its core identity.
What do you mean?
Well, should it focus primarily on preserving and studying its Buddhist heritage, its historical roots?
Okay.
Or should it branch out aggressively into cutting-edge modern science and technology to be relevant globally? Is it meant to be primarily a spiritual or contemplative retreat or a high-powered research institution?
It's like trying to update a classic recipe. How much do you change before you lose the essence?
That's a great analogy. Exactly.
We even came across some fun, slightly tongue-in-cheek ideas for a modern Nalanda survival guide.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like suggesting they hire a time traveler to teach modern students how to achieve the focus levels of ancient monks who didn't have phones buzzing every 2 minutes.
Good luck finding one. Or proposing they outright ban burnout.
Ban burnout. How?
Well, the idea is those ancient monks could apparently debate for days without needing constant breaks or complaining about workload. Maybe we're just less resilient now.
Or maybe their mode of learning was inherently more sustainable. Interesting thought.
And embracing the chaos. If the original could handle thousands of students from incredibly diverse cultures and languages without a modern admin system,
surely the new one can handle some bureaucratic hurdles?
You'd hope so, and definitely keep it real. Avoid becoming a cheesy tourist trap with manufactured souvenirs.
Yeah, the power's in the history, not a gift shop.
Exactly. But beyond the practical challenges, there's a significant geopolitical layer to this revival effort. Many see it, and the original Nalanda itself, as a form of soft power.
Absolutely. The ancient Nalanda was a soft power juggernaut. Its influence wasn't based on military might at all.
No, it was the irresistible pull of its intellectual reputation, its philosophy, its scholarship spreading peacefully across Asia. That's real influence.
And today, As India aims for a larger role on the global stage, a successfully revived Nalanda could become a powerful symbol.
A symbol of its deep intellectual and cultural heritage. It could project a different kind of power onto the world.
And the support from countries like China and Japan. It isn't purely altruistic, is it?
Probably not entirely. We learned they see their involvement partly as a way to potentially increase their own cultural or diplomatic influence in the region.
It's like a complex game of chess.
But the pieces are scholars, funding agreements, and cultural exchange programs. High-stakes stuff.
If played strategically, though, it has the potential to be more than just a game, right?
I think so. A thriving Nalanda could become a much-needed bridge between East and West, a place fostering genuine dialogue and mutual understanding.
Which the world could definitely use more of.
Absolutely. In a world that often feels increasingly fragmented.
Coming back to that personal feeling from the ruins, standing on Vulture Peak, the real legacy isn't just the physical remains or even the lost texts, tragic as that is.
What is it then, do you think?
It feels like it's in the questions the place provokes in you today. What does it truly mean to seek knowledge in an era of instant answers? Can we really rebuild places that nurture genuine curiosity over relentless competition? And yes, I'm still pondering how they handled that Bihar heat without air conditioning. Seriously.
Well, some mysteries remain. But look, the new Nalanda faces an incredibly difficult path. There are no guarantees of success here.
No.
But the narrative suggests it's not an impossible dream either. It will require clear vision, sustained commitment, significant funding.
And maybe, just maybe, finding a way to tap into a bit of that ancient magic that made the original place so vital.
Whatever that magic was. And even if it doesn't look exactly the same, because let's face it, times have changed fundamentally.
It can't look the same.
No. But it could still evolve into something profoundly important and powerful in its own unique, modern way.
We found this compelling thought near the end of our dive.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should view Nalanda 2.0 not just as a state-funded project.
But as a movement.
Yeah, potentially. A movement that champions the rigorous debate of big ideas, that invites global minds based on their wisdom, not just their publication history.
A different set of criteria.
Right? And maybe, just maybe, inspires us to build institutions of knowledge that are robust enough to survive the fires of change this time. Build a library that lasts.
That would be something.
And for anyone feeling skeptical about its chances, remember that powerful closing idea we encountered.
Which one?
The original Nalanda was built, flourished, and changed the intellectual landscape of a continent without electricity, without the internet, without any of the technological tools we deem essential today.
Right. Bare hands and brain power, essentially.
Pretty much. If ancient monks could achieve that kind of impact with far fewer resources, surely modern efforts, with the right focus and dedication, have the potential to succeed in creating something truly meaningful.
It certainly puts our modern challenges into perspective, doesn't it? It leaves you with a lot to consider about what deep learning is, what striving truly entails.
And how we might approach the pursuit of knowledge in our own lives, right now. So we've taken a deep dive into the incredible story of Nalanda, its dazzling height as arguably the world's first great university, its tragic destruction, the haunting beauty of its ruins today.
And the complex, ambitious attempt to bring its spirit back to life in the 21st century.
It's clear that Nalanda's significance extends far beyond the bricks and stones, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It stands as a timeless symbol of humanity's relentless pursuit of knowledge and the profound value of connecting minds across borders and cultures.
And as we wrap up, maybe consider this final question, drawn from the echoes of Nalanda. In our modern world, constantly bombarded with information, what does this ancient story tell us about what real deep learning actually requires?
And are we perhaps missing out on essential wisdom because we're too caught up in scrolling to look up and engage deeply?
Something to think about.